Perfect.
So I'm telling you, like, you are like one of the few people in this freaking world that pumps gas and walks in.
In your bubble.
Not my bubble. In the freaking state of Wisconsin.
It may be in Wisconsin. That's one state out of all 50.
I do
in other
not.
States, it's different, especially on the East.
It says it right on the freaking pump. You cannot.
It's not my responsibility.
It is.
We'll talk about it on the show. Let's get going with the show, and then I'll explain whose responsibility it is.
Okay. And you're gonna sound like a complete dumb shit. Just so you
I'm just gonna tell you how it is.
All right. Okay.
Let's welcome back to another episode of 217 South Mills.
Brought to you by Cabin Coffee and Pizza Del Rey.
All right, let's get right into it.
Yeah, you know what? This has been pissing me off for a while now, and I'm not sure if it's just the audacity of you, and I'm going to use the word audacity. I feel like it's the audacity of you that you think that that's completely acceptable. And, okay, here it is, folks.
Explain what
Okay,
it is.
so me and Bill were we were riding together, and had to get gas. And Bill pumps the gas, puts it in his thing, activates the pump so it's working, and then walks into the freaking store and gas station because I think he used the restroom, and just leaves it go by itself.
So that's the way I was raised. So even in Pennsylvania, we didn't even have the clicker on the gas handle. We're out here, and now it's across the U.S. where when you pump gas, you squeeze it all the way and it clicks in. Like, do you want it coming out slow or fast? We didn't have that click. So when I grew up, in my first car, the gas cap came, you'd unscrew it and you'd be holding it in your hand. You'd squeeze the handle and stick the gas cap inside the gas handle to keep it pumping while you multitask and do other things. Maybe you have to go in and use the restroom.
You're the laziest person I know. You don't ever multitask at anything.
At the gas station, I multitask nonstop.
Why?
Because maybe I have to use the bathroom.
So
I pushed it a couple exits too far.
And it even tells you, like, you have to maintain the pump while it's in operation, and you just think that it's somebody else's responsibility if there's a gas leak.
To me, that's a policy at the gas station. That's not a law. To me, if something happens at that pump while I'm inside, that's the pump malfunction. That's not my fault.
You're still paying for the gas, though.
If the pump's screwed up, though, it's not my problem.
You're probably kind of the guy, too, that's going to walk in there if the pump malfunctions and demand, hey, I only got this many gallons of milk, and there's 4 gallons on the freaking parking lot, and now you have to reimburse me for that?
Yes, because it's not my fault. It's the pump's fault.
All right, folks, here's the deal. Can anybody settle this for us? Because I have never not maintained my pump. I don't even sit in my car when it's 40 below. I sit out by my freaking pump and make sure it's doing what's supposed to. And just in the just a slight chance that the pump does not work and does not kick off, I am there to manually do it so I'm not spilling gas all over the freaking parking lot.
If it's a pump malfunction, who knows if it'll even come out or if it'll stop. There's multiple people out. They have a shutoff valve outside and inside. And they have cameras on the pumps inside. So somebody's watching.
They're not watching you nonstop.
But they're checking to make sure the pumps are working.
Not. They're just making sure that you're not, like, stealing the gas. Before that was an issue, but now you pay at the pump here. They're not. There's not somebody watching the pumps the entire time going, oh, this guy's.
So if anything malfunctions, let's remove the gas station for a second. So, like, if I go to an ATM or I go to a movie theater, say the soda machine at the movie theater.
Yep.
And I put my cup underneath, and soda goes spraying everywhere. Yep. Is that my fault?
No, it's not.
It's the machine's fault.
But you at least are able to take the cup out and stop it.
What do I do? What do I do? It's their responsibility, not mine.
Yeah,
do I have to clean the floor at the movie theater?
Gas and soda are two different things because soda is not flammable. And you can cause basically a hazardous spill at a gas station, causing danger to other people. But you're telling me that that's not your responsibility. It's somebody else's.
They should be calibrated more often.
Oh, all right, folks, can you please help us out here?
Well, let them know the story, too.
Okay, yeah, so here's what it was.
That got me fired up for a different reason that got you fired up.
This is how this came to fruition. We were traveling up to Phillips, Wisconsin, to my in-laws up there, and we were dropping off something, and I forget what it was. And we pull into a gas station, and there was a gentleman that was working on the diesel pumps. And we needed gas, and we pull in there, and Bill's like, how long is it going to be until you're done? And the guy's like, if you want to, you can use the end pump and it's fine. Just diesel, no worries. So the guy goes over and turns on the pump for us while he's working on the other pumps in that same vicinity of the gas station. Yep. And Bill gets out of his truck, throws in the diesel pump, and clicks it and then walks away.
We both walk inside.
I'm not driving. I'm just a passenger. I can do whatever the hell I want.
I hear you, but I'm just saying we both walk inside. And this guy, mind you, this guy's about 32 years old.
Yeah, he was.
We both walk inside.
And so I think we used the restroom, but bought a drink and came back out. And Bill goes over to pull the gas out of the the pump out of the tank, and it didn't pump.
Yeah, we got about 2 gallons.
About 2 gallons, right?
And I was expecting around 28 gallons.
And what happened, Bill?
So I asked the guy, I go, hey, is there a problem? Now I'm thinking, oh, something is wrong with these pumps. And that's why this guy's here. I'm like, hey, is there something wrong with the pump? He goes, no. And just looks at me, and I'm bewildered because I'm like, well, it didn't work. I go, did you happen to shut it off while we were gone? Or I go, because if you're saying it works, I didn't get any gas. And I tried, before I even asked him, I tried swiping my card again,
right.
Thinking, because this has happened once or twice, and I thought something clicked, and that's what it was. And I didn't realize he said to me, he's like, I turned it off. I go, well, could you turn it back on? And he's like, are you going to walk away again?
Oh, he said, are you going to risk my life again?
Yeah, are you going to
risk my life, put my life in danger, and walk away again?
So I said, no, I'm going to pump it. I was infuriated inside, and I pumped it. We got in the truck, and I think you even said, like, whoa, I'm surprised you were quiet about it, whatever. As we're driving away, I was like, if he's still there when we drive back down, I'm going to swipe my card, click that diesel handle, and just let the pump hang on the ground and be like, ain't my problem.
But you're going to be responsible for that, because if they get your license plate,
be like, the pump malfunctioned.
No,
must have been the guy in the hole.
It showed you on camera.
It's getting them back.
It's getting them back.
He's got to clean the diesel.
So
I'll pay $20 in diesel gas.
But then there's also the cost of cleaning up the diesel.
I'll give them $1 for cleaning it up.
Is that their responsibility to turn it off? Because
this is all coming back from the attitude.
And I understand that. However, but you're responsible for the gas that is spilled. You are. And to turn off the pump if it malfunctions. No.
The guy should be lucky and happy that I was quiet about it, and I didn't want to argue with him in the spot while I was in the hole.
Okay, and
I was debating calling BP that day.
I'm going to give you props because you held your shit together. You didn't lose it.
But we have to agree to disagree that is allowed if you choose. There's going to be people out there, and everybody paying attention. There is going to be a poll on Spotify, and I think the poll might carry over to Apple Music. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure on that. But hit up the poll. Let us know what you would do. We're going to give you a couple options: stay at the pump, walk away, get back in your car. What do you typically do at the pump? So fill out the poll. Let's see what the result is by the next time we have a podcast. But
are we going to have a wager on this at this point? Then,
sure. What would you like to wager?
I don't know. This is spur of the moment.
Let's go. A fill up at the gas tank.
A fill up at the tank. If it's appropriate according to the polls.
If there's more polls that people that say it's appropriate, you fill up my tank.
Yep. Okay.
And if more say it's not appropriate, now granted, I think our Midwest, East Coast listeners are more heavily Midwest than East Coast. So you're already you're given. It's almost like I'm giving you odds in this right now. I'm just saying.
Giving me odds.
I'm giving you odds because you have more people in the Midwest that are listeners than I have on the East Coast.
I'll be curious to see what our fans in Belgium have to say about this. I'm just saying.
Let's see if the Belgium even answers the poll.
I feel like they will.
There's somebody in Mexico, too. Whoever's listening in Mexico, give a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to give you praise for tuning in, see what you think about the show.
To me, in knowing you for as long as I have, it's just that freaking it's my it ain't my job. It ain't my freaking job. I do what I want. It's not a law. Like
it's the way it is.
It's a common courtesy.
It's not my there's a lot of common courtesies.
I feel like it's a couth.
It's like when we talk about pet peeves, and I told you on the East Coast, when there's two cars facing each other at a red light and there's no green light arrow, you sort of eyeball the guy facing you going the opposite direction. Uh-huh. And you could tell just from the eyeball, just the eye test, if he's going to step on the gas. And when that light turns green, I'm making a left-hand turn.
In front of the guy who's going straight.
Yeah, because he's not going to come off.
Are you freaking kidding me?
You eyeball it.
God, I wish you lived in the city when I was a cop.
That's an East Coast thing.
I wish you lived in the city when I was a cop because I would pull you over in a heartbeat.
Anybody that lives in Scranton, think about Main Avenue. There's no turn lights on Main Avenue. And I'm telling you, it's an eyeball test. 90% of the time, you're correct. There was the 10% you screwed up the eyeball test, but 90%, that guy's coming. I'll wait till he goes and I'll turn. Otherwise, you look and you're like, they're going to be slow off the line. And you just make the turn. You got your blinker on the whole time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's an eyeball test.
It's right of way.
It's just driving.
It's a right of way test, and that is a law. I don't care if you're trying to skirt the law at the gas pump. It's a freaking law.
We were talking the other day about possibly getting a dash cam. We haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I think we need to get a dash cam that's easy to install and take out. And we're going to do maybe an hour with Bill driving and an hour with Joe driving, and we'll upload the videos for people to see and just see the differences in the driving, and they could choose the pros and cons.
So this goes right back to another freaking thing that pisses me off about you, Bill. And this is not a. I didn't see that in it. No, it's not in this. You and shopping carts drive me up the freaking wall. Like, I'm sorry. You shopping at any grocery store completely, like, I can't even be near you when you're pushing a cart.
You know, it's like
it pains me. Okay, here's another scenario, and again, this goes with that. Oh, I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Do what I want kind of mentality bullshit. So I feel as though I'm a very courteous shopper. Like, I don't leave my cart. I don't stand in the middle. If I am perusing any section of the shelf, I pull my cart over as far to the shelf as I possibly can, and as I look for what I need. And people are able to come and go past me at their leisure.
Yep.
I make myself small, Bill.
You get skinny in the aisle.
I get skinny in the aisle. Football players, defense, you get skinny. Yeah. Anyway, so Bill, when he goes grocery shopping with a cart, he leaves the cart basically turned sideways in the middle of the freaking aisle. You have people can't get around you. Like, how do you not freaking move your cart over to the side?
You've noticed once or twice. There's times where you get in front of like the olives or the oils or something, and you're just like in awe, like looking, and you're like, oh, I forgot to move it over 2 feet. But I already did the eyeball test. There was nobody within 10 feet of me at the time.
I've witnessed people look at you.
Yeah, it was like a once or
twice. No,
it
wasn't a once or twice.
It was a once or twice.
And you're oblivious to it. You are completely oblivious to it.
Sometimes I get in there and there's just no concern.
And I walk over there and I grab the cart and I shove it over to the side, and he's like, like I'm the guy doing something freaking wrong. I'm trying to be courteous to the fellow shoppers. Again, I feel as driving is a privilege, not a right. And I feel like grocery cart etiquette is something that we have to work on with you. Or are you going to tell me that over in Scranton, you can just leave your cart wherever the hell you want? It's an eyeball test as if they're going to come down the aisle or not, and then I'm going to leave in the middle of the freaking row.
My freaking headphones are falling off. I'm laughing. Yeah, I don't know. It's something like the grocery store. Maybe it's calming to me. You know, the cart, it relaxes my back a little. That I get to lean in. It's just like, I'm in a happy place. There's food everywhere. There's fun and exciting things to look at in the grocery store. And then, I forgot once or twice, I feel like.
No.
It was like a onesie, twosie.
It's like once or twice in the same freaking aisle. It's all the time. I abort mission and I go on my own, and I have to go and find my stuff, and I will haul back an armload of stuff that I need or that we need in order for us to survive, and I'll put it in the cart and then I walk away again. Like, you're like the mothership that's just slow, dumb, and hanging out in the middle of the aisle, and I'm still, as you fantasize about olives, I'm sorry, that's nothing I've ever done before.
Look at
the olives, they look amazing. Look at the sheen on that one. No one looks at that.
You don't even talk to people in the grocery store. Like, I'm trying to make conversation. See, what item do you like the best here? Just
I'm on a mission.
Reaching out.
I'm on a mission.
I'm trying to get involved in the community. I'm asking people their likes, their dislikes. How would you make this? I'm in the aisle checking out. We're talking recipes and stuff. One time I was at Target grabbing a bunch of food for a party, and they're like, "What are you making?" It's like, well, we got brisket going. They're like, how'd you do your brisket? Well, we put it in last night around 10 o'clock, low and slow. And,
yeah, you are. You are something. Wow.
All right. Well,
we kind of went off tangent here, but it needed to be said. It needed to be said.
How about the Northern Lights? Now that was exciting. That was very exciting. I'm going to admit I was a little nervous because it came so close to the eclipse.
Right.
And it was so late at night. I chose to stay in, and I viewed many pictures online, and they were absolutely beautiful. I saved some of the pictures.
You didn't venture outside?
No. I mean, the eclipse, the Northern Lights, like, I didn't know if I was going to burn my eyes. I'm already thinking I'm getting close to possibly needing to go in for an eye test, but it was scary. But the pictures were beautiful. Yeah. And I have them on my phone forever.
I'm not going to bust your balls because
memory might not last that long. But those pictures,
I
the last until I
I
deleted
did
them.
not go outside either. I was not aware that there was northern lights, and then when someone informed me of the northern lights at that point in time, decided to stay in bed, and I wasn't going to get out and
Yeah.
go look at northern lights.
I hear you.
But
Well,
I
it's
had
the same sort of with the eclipse. Like everybody got so excited, and we were at the same place at the same time, and it was sort of like a cloud passed over for a couple minutes.
yeah,
I thought it was going to get pitch black.
Yeah, but I have to admit the pictures that I saw that friends sent us were pretty unbelievable.
I didn't see the same pictures. The ones I saw were pretty gross.
Oh, the northern lights?
No, of the eclipse.
Oh, I'm talking about
the northern lights. Yeah, I got some beautiful northern light pictures too.
Yeah.
I got some weird eclipse pictures.
Okay, I didn't get those, which is okay. I didn't want to see that one anyway, but they were good to go. So we have a brand new drink. First time that we're launching it here is in May. It's called the Lavender Buzz.
Lavender Buzz.
And Lavender Buzz. It features our white coffee, lavender syrup, and topped with honey. So people ask me, what is white coffee? Here's what it is. I promise you it's 100% coffee, and it is not treated with chemicals. It is not bleached. It is all natural. It doesn't have that really deep roasted flavor. Some people love coffee. Some people hate it because of the way it tastes. If you like caffeine and you want an actually healthier source of caffeine other than, Red Bull or any of the other drinks that aren't great for you, and I can't rip on them because I also drank them when I was in law enforcement to stay awake. So, but this has that more of a smoother, nuttier flavor. It's got more caffeine content, and so you can get a buzz from the caffeine or the buzz from the honey. You like that?
I like that.
Little twofold. There you go.
And I'm telling you, when you start off with that lavender buzz, I want like a bass jazz guitarist behind you playing in the background.
The lavender buzz. All right, what's next on the docket?
We got the Tom Brady roast.
Tom Brady roast. I tell you what,
freaking Brady.
Take some stones to stand up there.
Take stones, but I heard he also got $25 million.
Are you kidding me?
That, yeah. Netflix. I believe I read Netflix paid him $25 million.
25.
So not that the guy needs $25 million, but I'd take 20. I mean, he's probably like, screw it, I'll take $25 million. Say what you want because he's still the GOAT.
Yeah.
And let's just address this really quick before we get into the roast. We got a couple points to talk about, but when the word GOAT is mentioned, for the listeners out there, if there's anybody under the age of say 30, just so you understand, there is no debate. Tom Brady is the GOAT in football. Michael Jordan's the GOAT in basketball.
I agree.
That's it.
I agree.
Other sports you could argue, but those two. Don't say LeBron. Don't say Kobe. Personally, I think I'd take Kobe over LeBron any day on a team. But LeBron isn't even close to. He's lost more than he's won. You know what I mean? Like you can't. And then Brady, it's just he puts those rings on his hand. Who compares? You could call him a system quarterback. You could call him whatever. He's a winner. He wins championships.
Well, and I think he just proved that when he went over to Tampa Bay. If he's a system quarterback, you don't win another Super Bowl at Tampa Bay if you're just a system quarterback.
Yep.
So I agree. I don't. I guess I don't hate the guy, but I'm not a fan of the guy, and I don't like the guy. So I'm kind of on the fence.
What's the difference too about the person and the athlete?
Absolutely.
Like when we say GOAT, we're strictly talking athlete. Yeah. But off the field, I mean, think how you want to think about him. But I'll tell you what, I think he handled the roast well. I think a lot of the family stuff he didn't expect. I'm sure he knew it was going to come up because, like, watching podcasts and interviews with some of the comedians, they point blank said, like, I think it was Nikki Glazer who absolutely killed it. I think she was the best comedian, period. She was one that pointed out she had never met Tom Brady till after the roast.
Right.
So, like, she roasted him.
Yeah.
Then after the roast was like, hey, hope you had a good time. It was very nice to meet you. And they had small talk for 10 seconds. And she's like, that's the first time I met him. So he had no idea. And I think all the comedians took off a little something off the table before going. But, I don't think the family stuff he was expecting as hard. But he came back to get them all at the end. And my favorite, and I think we could talk about some of our points. My favorite was the Nikki Glazer making fun of Tom Brady when she goes, Tom, how did you lose $5 million in Bitcoin or crypto, whatever she called it?
Yep.
And she goes, Gronk, no, not real money. I'm just like, and I know we're going to bash on Gronk. And I've heard like Edelman, I've heard Brady, I've heard so many people say football intelligence and numbers. He's a genius.
Okay.
but you got to admit, he comes off like a doofus. And we know a couple athletes like that that are absolute geniuses in the real world. They were hella football players, but they just sounded dumb when you talk to them.
Well, let me put a spin on that. What if that's part of his act? I mean, and he makes really good money doing doing all his endorsements.
Spiking the ball, being
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely brought him. I mean, you got to be good, one, but you got to have a personality, too, to get endorsements. And, 100% agree with that.
I agree. But I enjoyed that, and I thought it was, I mean, it's a little raunchy. I mean, not for kids, obviously.
But see, everything's getting pushed that way, though.
Not for my mom.
Okay? Yeah, true. But I'm just saying TV, and I mean, Netflix is streaming. So, like, there are things on Netflix that push the envelope.
Right.
But, like, even the main television networks, NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, they all push it with, like, the language. Like, think about when we were kids. I still remember the worst thing that was on television from our senior year going back to when we were kids, NYPD Blue, when Sipowicz showed half an ass cheek.
Yep, I do remember
and that. Like, the world almost blew up when that happened.
And I feel as though I remember that scene, actually.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you do. You probably have it mentally.
Well, it wasn't a good shot, but I do remember that, actually. So, there you go.
But nowadays, the words that they use, it's just unreal. Like, I mean,
I agree.
I'm not going to repeat them because I know Mr. Grabowski is going to fact check me on how many bad words I say, but
absolutely,
they just use a lot of bad words. So back to the roast. Bledsoe was early on.
And well, he was kind of in and out. And by the way, that guy was freaking hilarious.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't know how he was going to take it.
Right.
Because don't get me wrong, Bledsoe had a freaking stellar career.
Right.
I mean, not comparing it to Tom Brady, but a stellar NFL career for a quarterback.
Right.
But when you put him beside Brady, it's like he's the joke.
Absolutely.
And I felt like he handled himself great, came off great with the jokes on Brady.
Yep.
He repped his wine business. I was like, that's genius. You're going to be on Netflix. You might as well talk about your wine business.
Which was...
I guarantee there was millions of people that Googled that night.
Brought to you by Cabin Coffee.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And so I knew very little about Drew. I mean, obviously what everybody else knew, but I didn't know what his personality was. And the preview of it when they showed him, with Belichick talking to him and Tom Brady, like, it looked like he was talking to Bledsoe, and then it was Tom Brady he was referring to. This is your night kind of thing. And, so I kind of thought it was awkward, but then I was really impressed with him. I have not that I had a lack of respect for him, but I tell you what, like, he was funny.
Well, and I think, too, like, as a fan, if you're not on the inside, we're just assuming the way that team was. We're assuming Bledsoe hated Brady because he got injured and he stole his job and Bledsoe couldn't win it back. I watched an interview like in the last couple of days with Brady, and he goes, one of the best conversations me and Drew had, it was Brady's first Super Bowl. I think it was against the Rams. And it was the final drive, that like spectacular final drive. And the O coordinator and Belichick both came up to Brady 2 separate times on the timeout and said, protect the ball. Don't do anything crazy with the ball. Protect the ball. Right. You got to. And all of a sudden when the coaches left, he's like, all right, protect the ball, protect the ball. He goes, next thing you know, Drew Bledsoe walks up to me. He goes, fucking sling it. And Brady's like, that's awesome. He goes, I loved him for that. It's just like, let it go. Be the quarterback you are. Like, you got us here. Right. You're like, it's not time to, just like a Favre. You're going to win by the sword, die by the sword. Right. Or the gunslinger, win by the gunslinger, die by the gunslinger. And just let it go. Be yourself.
Yeah, it was good. I'm trying to think.
The shot.
Yeah. That was awkward between Kraft and Belichick. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's any love lost there. And they came up to do a shot, and I'm not sure if anyone noticed this, but I didn't see Belichick take a drink. He carried that full shot back, and
it was like a toast. He did the toast, but he went through with everything up front. But didn't take the shot.
But then it also, I mean, maybe he doesn't drink. I don't freaking know. It could be a personal choice, but I noticed it right away. I'm like, he didn't take the shot. He didn't drink it, and I watched him the entire time, and I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah, but they had a good cast crew up there. I was surprised that I felt like, did we miss out on Matt Light talking his tackle?
I don't think he talked really at all.
But he was up on stage. I felt like there was maybe 2 to 3 players that were on stage, and maybe Netflix cut them because maybe it wasn't a ton of laughter. Maybe it was the length of the show. But I felt like a couple guys got cut that I wanted. I mean, I would have been lineman. I would have loved to seen Matt Light, especially a big-time offensive lineman like that bust on.
Do you think they paid people on the Deos too, like to show up?
In the audience?
No, like on the stage with them. Like
I'm sure everybody got paid.
Got paid?
I guarantee everybody got paid. Nowhere near the money Brady got paid. I guarantee every comedian got paid and every guest got paid. Like Belichick got paid, Edelman, Gronk, guarantee all those guys got paid.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're not at that level. It's not like we're doing a roast of one of us in Altoona and we're like, hey, would you like to come by and make fun of us? Like, we'll get you a coffee if you come over. But
Come on down.
I guarantee they got at least 6 figures to be on there. At least.
You know what?
Yeah. I mean, it's Netflix.
And I thought it looked good. I thought all the players there was awesome. And like I said, all in all, it was entertaining, and I laughed.
Absolutely.
I laughed out loud. I laughed hard, and I laughed.
A lot funnier than we thought it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inconsistent.
So it was good.
And the last thing about it was Brady. I forget the bald guy, the comedian that's bald. He's
Jeff Ross.
Yeah,
Jeff Ross.
When Ross started pushing the subject with massage with Kraft, Brady was like, we ain't doing that shit tonight. Yeah, he's like, no more of that shit.
We're shutting that shit down. In the words of my wife, we're shutting that shit down.
Exactly. And everybody, like, it was Tom Brady saying it. Everybody respected that shit. Was like, all right, move on. Like, he's like, attack my feet. Like, go after the family, go after this and that. And that's the other thing too is that whole. I didn't realize how that break went down, and I still don't know it 100%. But what the gist I got was Giselle started dating her jiu-jitsu trainer or started having an affair or whatever. Yeah. So a lot of people were joking, like, just as much as it was a roast about Tom, it was a roast about her. Because it just kept bringing that to light. When people kept bringing up jiu-jitsu, yeah, they were making fun of Tom, but she's actually the butt of the joke at the end of the day. Yeah. All right, the next thing we got, which is very interesting news that I can't believe, Boston Celtics, Glenn Big Baby Davis, is going to jail for going to prison, for 40 months. Ooh. He allegedly stole nearly $5 million. And when I say stole, I'll explain it. Scammed, I should say. Allegedly scammed $5 million from the NBA insurance plan. So what blows my mind, the NFL has a similar type plan, and it is like you're killing yourself trying to get, like, if you go in for, say you went in for whatever, a shot, physical, whatever, you get a bill, you pay the bill, they reimburse it up to a certain dollar amount. Like for players my age, you have a lifetime deal, which mine's pretty much gone because they gave it to us 5 years ago, and I've been physically to the doctor a lot. So it's tough for us to get stuff approved. Like if we don't check a box or we don't circle the right thing, they deny it, you got to redo it. It's the most complicated process in the world. The NBA, similar size as the NFL, another multi-billion-dollar industry. Mm-hmm. This guy is filing false dental claims, hospital claims, this and that, I believe out of Massachusetts. And they caught him the same day he was filing claims that were allegedly taking place in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. He's out in Las Vegas. Here's my thing. Not that, like, this is where I would draw the line. Like, I'm not going to try and scam something like that that I'm not deserving of. But I could understand how some guys would look at that and see an opening and try it. How the heck did he get away with $5 million? I don't know. I mean, I don't think granted, there are some severely bad people with health, but I don't think we could spend $5 million on healthcare for the rest of our lives.
I agree.
How did he do it in a matter of a couple of years?
That's
and how did they not catch it?
How is there no red flags on this?
Like, exactly. Is he putting a dental claim in like every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Like, how did it total up to $5 million? I mean, I believe he's retired. I remember the name. I'm pretty sure he's retired. I'm thinking probably retired maybe like 10 years ago, if I had to guess. You can look into it. I don't care. But my point is, it's not like he's a 70-year-old that he's been doing it for the last 20 years.
Right.
So that was just crazy. And he's the second or third player in the NBA to get in trouble for this.
For the exact same thing?
For the exact same thing. How is this happening? Like, I think the NBA should call the NFL and be like, I can't pass a $50 thing if it's not filled out correctly. Right. And I actually did it.
Right.
This guy's not even doing it. And like, what type of paper? Are they just writing down the dollar amount and sending it in? Okay, we'll send you a check. Like, I don't get it.
Where's the receipt? Why aren't you checking the clinic that they apparently went to, et cetera? Like, I agree. Seems like a little sloppy management there. The claims for insurance going on.
Very sloppy in the NBA. All right, the next thing.
Yes.
Even though they're not a sponsor of ours currently, I think this might be the first thing. I think somebody needs to reach out to them and let them hear this.
Oh, man.
What did you get to experience the other night for the first time?
I have never had a crumble cookie, ever. And, I admit it. I am late to the race. Just never had I don't know. In my mind, I think it was something I'm like, that was kind of it.
I felt like you thought it was like a little bougie, a little like high
Yeah.
society, a little bit too much fluff. Like you even mentioned, like, oh, it's probably just a cookie with like a ton of icing.
Ton of icing, like frosting.
And I
don't
remember
like
early
one.
on, my first time trying, I thought the same thing. Like, who pays that much for something? And
so I was convinced to. We went to Crumble Cookie. We bought
variety pack, six.
And
there was eight of us.
Yes.
So it wasn't
just
don't be crazy, okay? We're actually getting thinner here as you see us.
Well, I'm sucking it in, but we are trying to get thinner. So we cut them into eighths, and we tried every flavor of cookie, and I'll tell you, I was really impressed. Now, I'm not easily impressed when it comes to like sweets or cookies, but hell yeah, Crumble Cookie. Whatever you're doing, freaking keep doing it. If you're putting crack cocaine in your cookies, you're doing it right.
Absolutely.
Because I've thought about it now, that place, since I've tried it the first time.
Yeah.
That's how good it was.
Yep.
So I was
and like I said before we tried it, there's cookies. Well, two of the cookies that were in the 6-pack. One was a lemon cookie. The other was raspberry
cream cheese or something like that.
Look at your memory on these cookies.
Well,
yes. And
when it has that much of an effect on your life, Bill, you really have to remember.
But here's my thing: I don't like lemon, and I don't like raspberry, and I loved those cookies.
Yes, they were
like
phenomenal.
that's like I don't even like that flavor.
Right.
And the cookies are phenomenal, let alone the chocolate chip, the oatmeal, caramel, chocolate, whatever. Those three, chocolate chip, chocolate, and that oatmeal,
and the
original oatmeal, caramel, and chocolate, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, so I was, I don't want to say I was peer pressured, but the look of disbelief when I said I've never been there. I've never had one. And like all of a sudden, everybody that was around here, like, you never had it? And I'm like,
it's like, it was almost... This is an extreme comparison, but I've run into this every once in a while. It's almost like, think about those legendary movies. Like if we met somebody in their 40s and they're like, Top Gun, I never heard of Top Gun.
True.
You'd be like, what the heck? Or like just any movie that stands out at the test of time, and you're like, I never saw it. What do you mean you didn't see that?
Right.
So I think that was the shocker. And there was one in your town, not for very long, but there's one in your town, and you've traveled to other places.
Yeah.
So, and I think the last thing we're going to address in the show is, now that we did that, we wished we'd filmed it.
Yes.
Because it was just a look on our face, like just melting once that flavor hits you.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to have to do tests in the future.
I agree.
Whether it's burgers, pizza, anything like that. We're going to, not very often, otherwise we're going to be gaining instead of trying to lose. But every once in a while, bring something in, bring a couple, cut them up, give it a taste test, rate it, do whatever.
I agree.
And give people's opinions.
And if you can't take the opinion of two fat guys on food,
who are you going to take?
Who are you going to take? Like,
you're not taking a skinny person's opinion.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to call up a vegan and ask them how the burger joint is? Like, no.
Tell me where your top salad bars are.
Yeah. Heck no.
You should go to this salad bar. They have the best sprouts ever.
Exactly. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in again for another episode of 217 South Mills.
And it's brought to you by Cabin Coffee and Pizza Del Rey.
Our favorite pizza and our favorite coffee.
Absolutely.
And both in the Altoona, Eau Claire area.
Yes. So thanks for listening, folks, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, folks.
Thank you for listening to Joe and I today. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you like what you heard, please give 217 South Mills a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Go tell your friends about us. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
I'd like to thank Cabin Coffee Altoona for sponsoring us. Everything is always better at the cabin. See you next time. And remember, folks, Red has to run.